Yeah,
Oh,
did you
yeah,
not?
it
Did
was
you not like it?
I got like 2 pages of complaints.
Oh no!
Oh no!
I'm
Well, all right.
conflicted.
First of all, hello everyone. We just witnessed Daring Doubt, the new season 9 Daring Do episode.
Hello.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan. Like, I don't know. I don't think I hated it either. I just didn't really find much to like about it. So I don't know. I want to hear from you guys then.
Hear what
I'm
you
with
have
you,
to say.
but I'm with you, Little Shy. I'm
Yeah.
not a fan of this.
Let-
Really?
Let's hear what you guys have to say before Drummer Shy and I.
Oh, you just want to tear
tell you
apart.
how much
You want to
loved it.
criticize our criticism?
Yes.
Well, let's just hear. I'm curious to hear what you didn't like about it.
This was a GM Barrow one, right? I just think I'm not really a fan of
No,
her writing.
it's
It's not.
Nicole.
Oh, it was Nicole. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Why did I think GM Barrow? I guess they're
Because
similar.
you didn't like it, maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. I guess
I
she's
actually don't know much about the writers.
so. There's just a series of weird things. It's really nitpicking, and I don't know how to talk about this episode on the whole without just nitpicking. Like I struggle to.
Yeah, we get it. You don't like Rainbow Dash.
Me? No, I like Rainbow Dash. It's Jessica doesn't like Rainbow Dash.
Yeah, it's true.
It just feels like the
Yeah,
pacing is really
true.
weird. Like things just sort of happen. There's no flow, and dialogue is off. Characters randomly reveal things they shouldn't be revealing. Like, why would Daring Do keep this a secret all this time, only to leak it to Caballero himself? Like, it's just
Why
dumb.
would Aoi Zola be a sympathetic character?
Yeah, and in the end, of course, they reform Aoi Zodal. He's just misunderstood. He's just doing his job. He's just like, I really hate that.
Well,
But
My Little Pony's never
I
been the
don't
best.
see what was wrong with that
Right.
because, like, that's
It-
what he.
I'll-
Like, there was never any character development for
Little
Aoi
Shy.
Zodal, was there?
Little Shy.
Yeah, we had like 3
Didn't you-
episodes where he was seen, or more when he's mentioned, I think.
Little
Yeah,
Shy,
but no
didn't
character development.
you
don't
tweet
know.
about Aoi Zodo like when this episode was leaked?
I just tweeted that he was good now. Like, that was something I couldn't just keep to
And you
myself.
like showed an earlier episode, like season 2.
Yes,
And he was
so-
shown like why was it?
So if I jump to the end of my notes here, because like I said, I have lots of things I could complain about, but he mentions how he's just misunderstood. He's just doing his job. He has other guardians to account to, or he has like a boss, and he's just trying to protect the jungle. And that's just made up in this episode, because in previous episodes it's pretty well established that he's a villain. We don't really know his motives besides wanting to take over the world, which is in direct conflict with today's episode. And in addition to that,
Take over the world.
That actually
addition-
a quote, like he wanted to take over the world.
okay, so it's dubious because that quote is in Daring Do's flashback, so you could say that's Daring Do's impression of him, but that's really nitpicking the nitpicks. Because in a different episode, that's not a flashback, he straight up says he's going to destroy the jungle. So, yeah. Today's episode just
so-
comes out of nowhere.
Okay, so the
Yeah.
I'm going to destroy the jungle thing, that's fair. I was coming here without any sort of knowledge of Aoi Zodal because I just didn't really remember anything about
Yeah.
it.
And I think that's the problem. I don't think the writers remember anything about it.
Continuity
because
is dead.
There's just so much to follow, and for the writers, because there's 9 seasons of continuity they have to address.
But if there's only like
Continuity
3,
issues.
maybe even 2 episodes where he's prominent, it shouldn't be that hard to look back and kind of get a feel for his character before making a new episode about him.
That's fair, but also I think that this was really nice when it like if you think of this show that's like friendship is magic and like that's the whole thing. That's what Fluttershy was doing and I really enjoyed that personally because Fluttershy was, showing Cavaleron the magic of friendship and
Yeah.
I deeply enjoyed that.
I like the premise, and the Caballero thing with him being relatable and not just a bad guy. I mean, he is still a bad guy, which is what I like about the story. They didn't like totally reform him and make him good. But yeah, I like what they did with Caballero. It was a little bit more ambiguity with his good versus bad. I like that. It was just Aoi Zodal being, oh, he's good now, and they're making a book together. Like, it's just stupid.
Yeah, the becoming an author thing was like I think that was just a gag personally. I think that was
I
just
know it's just a cartoon, but I can't help
Let's
it.
just reform all
Yeah,
the
I mean-
villains now.
Yeah.
If I think about it deeply, it's like, yeah, that's really stupid, but it was a funny gag. Like it was a funny 10-second gag, which I enjoyed.
But that's not how I like the show is ending. I don't want to remember Aoi Zodal as this pushover who gives us whiplash with how quickly he like turns around, and I don't know.
Okay, that's understandable.
I think that's a good way to describe most Daring Do stories is whiplash. I mean, in the very beginning, when it was revealed that she's actually a pony, I didn't like that change. That came out of nowhere. It
Well-
messed up so many really good headcanons about like Daring Do being similar to Dash because she was in her imagination, but after she was actually real, it made no sense at all.
Speaking of that, I
Yeah.
have like this one note that just says so much for a secret identity. It's like
Yes.
they
Yeah.
just like they just completely threw that out the window
Multiple times. Multiple.
Yeah,
So
like with the little kid pony that.
So, I got a list. Let me go through the list really quick. So not only is the episode about revealing that she's real in universe, like that's the premise of the episode in the beginning. But then also you were just mentioning the little kid she reveals herself to. I'm actually gonna skip to the screenshot for that one. Yeah, and she just
That
totally turns
reminds
into
me-
Daring Do for no reason right in front of one of her
That-
fans.
That
Cavalier
reminds
on-
me too much of Superman when Clark Kent turns into Superman.
Like maybe it's a reference to that, or maybe it's just supposed to be a joke, but it messes up the continuity and established canon. I was like, oh, this is what the
Yeah.
episode's about. It's not about Caballero, it's about this fan revealing her identity. But no, it's not about her identity at all. Which leads to my third note. At the very end, she just straight up tells Caballero that she's the author. It's like, why?
I guess I
Yeah.
guess the secret just doesn't really matter anymore.
Cavaleron
That might
revealed
be
her
it. They're trying to summarize, like they're trying to give a conclusion to the series, and it's like, oh, the secret identity doesn't matter anymore. That's like, I guess, what they're doing. This
But
is
that's
like their
dumb. It's
ending.
fun. So okay, Aoi Zodal is a fun villain. The secret identity is a fun premise, right? And they're getting rid of like both those things. Like they're sucking the fun out of Daring Do.
I think they're
They've
trying
been
to
sucking the
conclude.
fun out of Daring Do since season 4.
Well, yeah. Well, in the very beginning, even like I said, I wasn't a fan when she was revealed to be like one and the same with the author and all that. Whatever.
Speaking of, what would be her next book since she made the deal with Aoi Zodal to
Yeah,
never
so-
come back?
At the end, she made a deal to never steal artifacts from Aoi Zodal. Maybe she'll steal from other Guardians. Because
But,
so that's an
didn't
interesting note. Is that he mentions other Guardians like himself.
Didn't she say that the reason why she was writing the books was just because she wanted to share the interesting stories, not because she wanted to profit off of books?
Yeah, she said she just wants to share the stories. So I guess she can find other ways to share stories besides trespassing and Aoi Zodal's Area 51 or whatever. I don't know. Sorry,
Also-
it's September 21st. I got Area 51 in the mind.
Yeah, I'm glad that nobody got killed yesterday.
All right, so I do
Very
want to
important.
try to back away from all my nitpicks. I want to approach this episode more broadly, and like you were mentioning, it's about Fluttershy showing kindness, and I guess that's a
Heck yeah.
positive aspect to look at.
I loved that part so much.
But
and then I saw that.
now I have a
Drummer Shy's-
complaint.
What?
Now I'm going back to complaining because, all right, it's not a full-out complaint like the previous ones were. It's just more of an observation I mentioned in the call earlier. How do we feel about Fluttershy suddenly not being Fluttershy? She's just Flutter now.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Character development
Yeah,
is my
yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
She's-
that's
she's
actually
developed.
I miss Dragonshy where she was cartoonishly afraid of her
Well,
own shadow. I thought that was hilarious.
I think that's why most fans didn't like her from the start, was because she was shown as this timid
Yeah,
character that
sure.
was afraid of her own shadow, and people were sometimes annoyed with that sometimes.
yeah, I
But
definitely
like now
have seen
that
that.
she's grown as a character, she's become more. I can see why she's become more. She's growing as a character, and I like that. I like that the show is making these characters
Yeah.
grow more.
I
and
feel
that-
very proud of her when I see that. I don't feel annoyed that she's changed. I feel proud
Oh,
that
yeah.
she's actually developed and become more confident in herself.
Yeah.
Because that is a relatable thing for a lot of viewers, I think. People who are too shy to speak up. Like a lot of the demographic of the show is for kids who aren't confident and can't really make friends. And so seeing Fluttershy, some empathetic character who's grown and become more confident, I feel is really empathetic and really relatable and wonderful.
Yeah, I
So
don't.
Little
I
Shy,
want to.
to
I want to
bring-
clarify. That's not one of my complaints, but I kind of like feel nostalgia for the old Fluttershy, even if the new one makes sense.
Maybe you should binge watch season 1 then.
Well, that'll
Hey,
only make me
Little
feel worse about new episodes being nothing like them.
Hey, Little Shy, I just want to say,
Boo.
so to bring back character development, you remember how much you really hated the Rainbow Dash episode and everything, like
Oh, boy.
the cheerleader episode.
Well, yeah, it was
This-
just
Well, that
cruel.
was- well, I mean, I
This
don't
is
blame
kind
her.
of because Rainbow Dash lost character development in that episode.
No, it's more than that.
It's like
No,
they
it's
just
just that-
completely ignored
No.
that character development. And
Yeah.
with this one, they're actually like bringing in character development that
With
they that
with
Fluttershy-
Fluttershy, what
Yes.
steps they take with Fluttershy? They take like 3 steps back with Aoi Zodal.
Yeah, but
So-
also Ali Zola was a support character, so I feel like
Yeah.
it's kind of excusable.
But he was always one of the funnest villains. I miss him. He's like dead to
Oh.
me now. Well, he is dead. He's not a villain. So there was the name Groom QQ Martingale, which we determined was a reference to what's his name?
George R. Martin.
Yeah,
the author
it
of
has
the
to be.
Game of Thrones books.
So
Uh,
going back, we skipped right to the end there, but that was the name of Caballeron's pen name for writing a book. See, we missed the whole premise here. Because I'm busy with my nitpicks. The premise is Groom QQ Martingale, which is really Dr. Caballeron, wrote like a counter book to go against everything Daring Do was writing, and
that everyone believed that was true for
Like
some
immediately
reason.
they believed
Yeah.
it. Like within like the first day, it's like, what?
So I have like the reason I have a long list of just weird little what moments, like that for example. The incidental ponies are too easily swayed. It's just obnoxious just to serve the story. Again, I have like Fluttershy is oddly brave and eager for adventure written down, but again, that's
Again,
we can talk about that for endlessly.
I would say that I would compare this to another Daring Do episode of what was it called? Daring
Don't?
Done?
Yeah, they mentioned that. They
Don't
referenced
Done?
that one in this one. I
There
think.
was this one episode where the one episode, and I thought the Pinky being included in that episode was odd because Pinky is I don't know. If it was Twilight, I would understand that, but Pinky and Fluttershy, like, it seems odd to me seeing other ponies that weren't associated with Daring Do other than Rainbow Dash and Twilight. Just felt odd to me.
Yeah,
At least that's what I think.
Speaking of that premise, I love when the show pairs two of the main six off on an adventure like this. It's a little bit distant because they're on like separate sides of the argument, which is one of my complaints, I guess. I like when the main six are like united against something, but that's like a tired cliche at this point because every episode does it. So it's good that they're trying something different. But yeah,
Also,
I do want to compliment and just say I love main six episodes where they pair them off and go off and do something.
also, this wasn't a map episode.
Yeah,
We haven't had a single map episode this season.
No.
I'm so glad. And look, we don't even have a mention of the Storm King for some reason.
Yeah, it's
Almost
not a
like-
Mike Vogel episode. All right, so I have so much more I could say, but we are running out of time. So, any last remarks
Yeah.
before we jump into individual thoughts and ratings?
I really as stated by Drac and I really liked Fluttershy in this episode, and Aoizoto getting somewhat redeemed through the power of friendship.
Not just somewhat. Aoizoto was totally reformed. Like he's good now.
Yeah, completely reformed.
I
Let's
Yeah,
fix
you were
that.
keyboard spazzing in the chat. It was
I'm
it was
sorry.
adorable.
It
was great.
Anyway, continuing on.
So, yeah, any last
Uh,
remarks before we jump in?
the
No.
Guess
Uh,
sometime first.
All right, let's do it. Drac Knight, what'd you think of the episode? We'll do like 1 or 2 minute up to.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I really liked it. Like I remember calling earlier on when, I mean, of course it was obvious that Dr. Cavalleron was the author, but I remember thinking early on, like, it would be really cool if they made it so that Daring Do like wasn't actually that great a hero, and it would be kind of cool if Dr. Cavalleron was kind of telling the truth. But I don't think MLP would be brave enough to do a twist like that. But then they actually were, because like Daring Do, it was revealed in this episode that what she was doing wasn't actually saving the jungle, and it was in fact harming it. I mean, and it was made canon that Dr. Cavalleron revealed that he actually was in fact trying to profit. So he was bad. Daring Do was also bad. I like that reveal. But then I also loved how Fluttershy was like, she was being kind, and like genuinely it showed Cavalleron that like you can be kind and you can do that, and I just loved that about it. It was just really enjoyable to me, and so it was just really nice. Of course it was a Fluttershy like Fluttershy Rainbow Dash episode, but like Fluttershy was there, and she was showing off and being really sweet, and I just really liked it. Oh, 20 seconds left. Yeah, I'm just rambling at this point, but yeah, it was great. What I'm saying is definitely incoherent, but in general, yeah, it was great. I have a smile on my face now, and I had a smile on my face at the end when it was all going. So honestly, despite the weird quirks about canon, and then the weird quirks about the character, the oh shit, shoot, heck, despite the quirks, it was really nice. 10 out of 10.
Wow. All right. 10 out of 10. I'm actually glad you kind of took some time to defend this episode because I'm going to rip into it. All right. Drummer Shy, what'd you think?
I thought this episode was really good. As what Draconite said, it was a great episode with Fluttershy and going on her friendship adventure, and it's finally great to see Daring Do back. There were a couple stuff that felt like it kind of dragged on, but it got right back in. Not a huge fan on Nicole Dubak stuff, but I think she struck lightning in a bottle with this one. And a great friendship lesson. And I was so surprised by that that truthfulness of Aoi Zodo. I didn't expect that. Just him being a monster. I mean, he does have like some like concerns about artifacts being taken and the other monsters like looking out for him. So there are other sides of the story as with this episode. So I'm gonna give this a solid 8 out of 10.
All right. 8 out of 10 from Drummer Shy. Hojo, you're up next. What'd you think?
I loved it actually, though a few little nitpicks. They really need like a sociologist to like look to talk to the writers of this thing to tell them how people would actually react in a situation, because the way that like mob mentality works, they're completely off on that.
I was
People
getting
wouldn't-
flashbacks to BronyCon lines.
Yes, BronyCon lines. There's the
Good lord.
there's the way people react to the book, and like, and just like, what would the little girl do when she goes and sees that? Would she write her own book, and now everyone else would believe her? Oh, according to the writers, it probably will. But I do like how like they ended like Daring Do, and like Daring Do actually got an episode in the final season and everything, and I actually did enjoy it quite a lot. So I'm going to give this episode a 9.5 out of 10.
Wow. Very high praise for this episode. All right. Jessica, you're up next.
I'm gonna burn this episode to the ground.
Yes, you and me together. No.
Okay, honestly, I'm gonna say this. Ever since AK Yearling was revealed as Daring Do in season 4, Daring Do episodes have become less interesting to me as it goes on. If this was the last Daring Do episode, I would say it was kind of okay. It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible either. It was just something I don't really feel like watching a lot, mainly because of the fact that they're trying to reform Caballeron and Aoi Zodo as these sympathetic characters, as they're trying to say. Honestly, I don't believe anything they say about making these characters something I can relate to. I don't relate to any of them because they're bad guys. They're supposed to be. Remember back when bad guys were just evil all the time, and that's what made them so
It's
memorable?
more fun.
I miss that. I miss that. And now we just have villains that are sympathetic just for the sake of it. And I don't like that. I like evil villains. And I love Fluttershy and everything, but her idea of making Aoi Zodo good was just not right. Just not smart. But this episode just felt meh to me. I think the only Daring Do episode I really liked was the first one, Read It and Weep, and the other one, Stranger Than Fanfiction. But other than that, like, they're just not good. I just don't care about Daring Do as much as I thought I was. But yeah, this episode just was a meh for me, so I'm probably gonna give it like a 6 out of 10.
All right. 6 out of 10 from Jessica. So I suppose that means it's my turn. Actually, hey, I'm actually at the end of the list for a change. Where do I begin? So Draconite mentioned watching this episode and like smiling throughout and enjoying it. That's why I gave it such a high rating. And I think that's a good way to rate the episode is based on your enjoyment. But if I do the same thing, it definitely wouldn't be a 10 out of
Right.
10 because constantly while watching, there's just little weird things, and if I try to avoid individual nitpicks and try to look at it broadly, the pacing just felt way off. Just things just sort of happen. There's no flow. There's very little things that are connected. Like when the fan sees Daring Do revealed, I was like, oh, okay, this is what the episode's going to be about now. It's going to be about the fan who saw her and she has to keep her quiet. Like, that could be an interesting episode. But no, it had nothing to do with anything at all. It was just a throwaway scene. I don't understand it. Maybe it was supposed to be a joke. Maybe it was supposed to be like a reference to, I think Jessica mentioned Superman or something. I don't know. But the episode had a lot of little moments like that, a lot of weird things. And again, I don't like nitpicking despite the videos I make on a regular basis. But like, I want to enjoy an episode. It's just all right. One positive. Daring Do kicks puppies. I don't think anyone mentioned that line yet, and that was really genuinely funny. but even then, I wonder, like, did they forget that she actually did kick kittens in a previous episode? Like, why wasn't that the joke, right? So I don't know. I feel like the writer of this episode isn't really familiar with the source material, which is weird because that's what they're writing. It's the same show. Yeah, I'm not. As I mentioned, I'm really not a fan of Aoi Zodal being reformed. I like what they did with Cabaleron. He's still a villain, but like you know more about him now, and that's great. What else do I have? Again, I have so many notes I can't go through them all. But there was just a bunch of weird little lines, like Rainbow Dash saying, "I got to get the deluxe spa package after this," and then she said, "Oh, this doesn't leave the temple." That feels like a cliche joke where it was obligatory. I didn't think it was funny at all. It was very forced. The timing was all way off. And then, of course, the Hench Pony had a joke about being an opera star, and that one worked a little bit better because the Hench Pony was more goofier than Rainbow Dash. But whatever, lots of little weird lines like that, lots of weird pacing. And I had this rating in mind long before Jessica's, but I'm also going to be giving it a 6 out of 10. So let's go ahead
Oh my
and...
goodness. I'm not gonna lie, I thought she said deluxe ball package.
No, spa. Like that's an established joke. They joke about Rainbow Dash liking the spa. Like, yeah, we get it. All right, let's go ahead and calculate our average for Little Shy Livestream reviews for Daring Doubt. We gave it...
Drum roll, please.
Yeah, we need a drum roll.
I don't have a drum roll.
Oh, no.
sorry.
That's fine. All right, so our average rating is a 7.9, which we actually round up to an 8, I guess. That's
Nice.
okay. I mean,
All right.
this might be one of the first times where I'm like, I don't really agree with that, but whatever.
By the way, like I remember you're mentioning the mob mentality thing, and that made me think. Like, honestly, when it comes to the internet, it seems that people are very, very quick to believe whatever people say, and I kind of forgot about that. People
true.
are.
There are some
Extreme.
parallels there. There's a lot to discuss there. But like, yeah, I agree with you how that there was more to that. But yeah, so we are about to wrap things up. But we do these streams like every week, so I hope to see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.